Hello and welcome back to the Greenhorn Photo Taker. A few weeks ago I introduced a new series called The Virtual Hike, which took the viewer through an entire hike in a GoPro 9 4K Timewarp. Today I want to adjust that a little bit. Going forward, we'll be calling it What Makes This Hike Great, and the opportunity for me is to combine my two loves of hiking and landscape photography. So the main difference is a more detailed introduction that I hope to accomplish two additional things. One, describe the hike itself and tell everyone why I love it and which sections are more special than others and what the prospective hiker should focus on. And two, call out the important specific scenes that appeal to the landscape photographer in me as well. So each one of these new hikes will have a small intro on the outset and describe what makes this hike great. Of course, at the end, we will still have the full 4K Timewarp for your viewing pleasure. It will continue to be set to music of my taste. Feel free to mute or feel free to put on your own music instead. So, the first hike in the new format is Cliff Park. I've hiked this many times. And I've also featured it on this channel many times. So what makes Cliff Park great? We'll get to that in a second. First, some housekeeping. So Cliff Park is set at the northernmost or close to the northernmost section of the Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area. That is a mouthful, near Milford, Pennsylvania. It is on the PA side of the Delaware River. There are 8 or 9 miles of trail in Cliff Park. And I think if you do the loop that I am suggesting, it's probably about 7.5 or 8 miles, depending upon what offshoots you take and depending upon your GPS. Let's call this a beginner hike. There's no specific section of trail that is daunting or difficult, no rock scrambles, no river crossings, nothing like that. But if you are not used to hiking, 8 miles in and of itself can be a bit of a moderate challenge, so just keep that in mind. There are many different avenues to take here too. If you don't want to do 8 miles, you can do something as simple as 2 and still get a lot of enjoyment out of it. So what makes this hike great? First and foremost is the cliff area itself. So there's 2 approaches to hiking the cliff area. The first one is Cliff Trail, which is a double wide, fairly mundane family trail that goes from the Raymondskill Falls parking lot all the way to Milford Knob. It does bring the hiker to a few vista points over the cliff's edge. There's maybe a bench there. It's behind a wooden fence. It's okay, but more family oriented. For the more adventurous and maybe someone who doesn't mind following an unblazed trail, there is the Cliff Park Trail, which is a recreational trail, like I said, without markings on it, but it does follow the cliff edge for many sections of the entire park. It's stunning. I highly recommend it. It is one of my favorite places to be for hiking and landscape photography. One can see all the way from High Point Monument to Sunrise Mountain to Blue Mountain Lake area of the Delaware Water Gap. It's really lovely. The second aspect of the hike is Hackers Falls on the northwestern side. This is a really stunning waterfall in this bowl-shaped area, I would describe it, with this wonderful rock formation behind it. It almost looks like the waterfalls are being shot out of some ramp. And when in the fall and in full flow, they roar, and there's a couple of beautiful trees that really highlight that autumn yellow. And the trail itself, Hackers Trail, also has a few offshoot trails that get you down to the river itself. And sometimes the water is flowing extremely fast. mainly because there's so much rock in the bottom of it. It's almost like I said, a chute where the water streams through. It's quite stunning. And Hacker's Trail itself, very lush, lots of evergreen. I think there's some hemlock there. It's a beautiful section of the forest. And finally, the last thing that makes this hike great is Raymondskill Falls itself. It's not officially part of the hike, but it is only a few hundred yards away from where you park. So I highly recommend that you do take a moment to go to Raymondskill Falls itself. There are 2 viewing platforms. I like to do the top one first because the bottom one just gives you a more majestic view. And it's something to look forward to, as opposed to seeing the best aspect of it first and then leaving with a little bit of disappointment as the view gets a little bit worse. So check that out. It's 150 feet, the tallest falls in Pennsylvania, and I've highlighted this on the channel a few times, but I'll link to in the top. The last time I was there, ice-encrusted waterfalls. Everything around there was a winter wonderland. It was quite spectacular. It might be the single greatest scene I've encountered in the northern Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, southern New York area. Truly magnificent, so check those out as well. So with an eye towards photography, you have the 2 falls themselves, which are a destination. You can do both in the same day, but frankly, I'd almost not recommend that. You can spend several hours at each location pinpointing the perfect composition. But I think the highlight is what we talked about at the onset, Cliff Park Trail itself. And why it's so spectacular are really 2 reasons. One, there are hardly any views in New Jersey or Pennsylvania that have no structures. And this, basically, as far as the eye can see, there's minimal to no structures. You can see High Point Monument. I personally feel that's a plus, especially in the summer sunrise time, because the sun rises right next to, and probably right behind it at times, I just haven't been there, right next to the monument, and that great orange glow with the monument in frame is something else. You do see a bit of the road, I believe it's 209, if you look down, but that's really it. And the rest is an open expanse of the Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area. It's quite great. And it's lovely in all seasons, right? Don't feel you have to limit yourself to the autumn or limit yourself to a different season. And the second aspect of Cliff Park Trail that makes it so wonderful is a cloud inversion. So what happens is the warm water mixes with the colder atmosphere and forms a layer of fog. And this is enhanced at sunrise, right? As those warm sun rays hit this area, you can physically see the cloud inversion form, and it is stunning. And it happens fast, so you have to be careful to get to the mountain before sunrise, because if you're even a few minutes late, the whole thing is decked in with fog, and sometimes the fog reaches above the ledges of the height of the cliff itself, and it blocks your entire view. But for those few moments when that fog is forming, it is one of the favorite things I've seen in the area. So between Raymondskill and Cliff Trail in the summer, it is something else. And I also love the fact that the view itself gives a photographer many options. You can include a zoom shot of the monument at sunrise. You can go for a wide angle of the inversion throughout the valley itself, or you could focus downriver and try to get as much of that meandering Delaware in the frame as well. And of course, each season offers different opportunities, so it's almost limitless, the different vantage points you can get. And looking north or south, you can also incorporate the cliff walls as well. So if it sounds too good to be true, there is an aspect of this that is too good to be true. So a couple things to be wary of. One, in the summer months, this place is now inundated with a lot of people. So when COVID struck last spring, it forced a lot of people to enjoy the outdoors more. And Cliff Park was one of the most popular destinations, specifically the two waterfalls. If you were trying to get anywhere near those waterfalls for some solitude or to enjoy nature, last summer you had to do it by 9 a.m., maybe 10 a.m. on a weekday. Otherwise, it was crowded with families. It's great. I'm glad more people are enjoying the outdoors. But for a hiker and a photographer, it ruins the atmosphere. So get there early and try to do it on a weekday. It got so bad that the National Park Service closed the base of Raymondskill Falls. So access to that base is no longer allowed, I think, between May and October. It was overrun with so much garbage. It really ruined the landscape. It was tough to see. And secondly, as I hinted at earlier, the trail itself is really just okay, right? This is not a classic northern New Jersey, eastern PA type of hike. Typically there's a lot of rocks, a lot of scrambles, a lot of hills in the area. Cliff Park, once you get up to the park itself, it's fairly flat and a relatively easy hike. So keep that in mind. It's worth the few hours out there if you're just hiking, don't get me wrong. But it is not an enjoyable terrain. There's just some enjoyable moments along the way. And finally, a large portion of Cliff Park Trail is closed due to nesting peregrine falcons. Between March and maybe July, the dates change every year. So check out the NPS website before you try to do the entire Cliff Trail, because it is closed. There's signage up, so even if you don't check the website, you should be okay. Just pay attention to those signs. And all year round, you can access the southern section of the Cliff Trail area. It's really the central and northern parts that have the peregrine falcons that are closed. So you can still see some great views in those few months that it's closed, but just be wary of it, and please obey the signage. It's important to let those birds nest in their natural habitats. Okay, I hope you liked the new idea of introducing the hike as well. I strongly encourage you to get out there and try this one, especially if you are a beginner or novice hiker. This one, very difficult to get lost, great things to see, and really just a wonderful place. Okay, enjoy the 4K Timewarp up next, and I'll see you soon.
Sleeping in skin. Gotta see it to believe it. Sky never looked so blue, so hard to leave it. That's what I always do, so I keep thinking back to a time under the canyon moon. The world's happy waiting, doors yellow, broken blue. I heard Jenny saying, go get the kids from school. And I keep thinking back to a time under the canyon moon. I'll be gone too long from you. Staring at the ceiling, 2 weeks and I'll be home. Carry the feeling through Paris, all through Rome. And I'm still thinking back to the time under the canyon. I'm going, oh I'm going, I'm going, oh I'm going, I'm going, oh I'm going home. I'm going, oh I'm going, I'm going, oh I'm going, I'm going, oh I'm going home. Quick pause in conversation, she plays songs I've never heard. An old lover's hippie music, pretends not to know the words. And I keep thinking back to the time under the canyon. I'll be gone too long from you. I'm going, oh I'm going, I'm going, oh I'm going, I'm going, oh I'm going home. I'm going, oh I'm going, I'm going, oh I'm Touch the rock and wait for the maker. And if he doesn't show, then heaven knows, I'll make you feel so crazy. The time will hit the water. Touch the rock and wait for the maker. And if he doesn't show, then heaven knows, I'll make you feel so blue. Jumping up and down the floor. My hair is an animal, and once there was an animal. It had a son that mowed the lawn. The son was an okay guy. They had a pet dragonfly. The dragonfly ran away, but it came back with a story to say. The tiny paws and furry coat, she ran down the forest slopes, the forest of talking trees. They used to sing about the birds and the bees. The bees had declared a war. The sky wasn't big enough for them all. The birds, they got help from below, from dirty ponds and the creatures of snow. Were cold. They were scared down in their homes. The forest that once was green was colored black by those killing machines. But she and her furry friends took down the queen bee and her men. And that's how the story goes, the story of the bees with those four dirty paws. like sand and sand, black and white, day and night. We go together like left and right. Oh, we go together. We go together like give and take, pains and aches, real and fake. We go together, don't be opaque. It's clear we go together. We belong together. We belong together. Baby, there's no use in being clever. Baby, it don't mean we stay together. We go together like pots and pans, surf and sand, batters and cans. We go together like lions and lambs. Oh, we go together. We go together like Keats and Yates, bowls and plates, days and days. We stay united like these old states. It's how we go together. We belong together. We belong together. Baby, there's no use in being clever. Baby, it don't mean we stay together. Hallelujah, you're still mine. All I did was waste your time. It is not some grand design. How this pair of stars align.
Ring the bells, wake the town. Everyone is sleeping. Shout at the crowd, wake them up. This anger's deeper than sleep. Got to keep awake to what's happening. I can't see the thing through my ambition. I no longer feel my God is watching over me. Got to tell the world you've all been dreaming. This is not the end, a new beginning. I no longer feel my God is watching over me. Break the code, concentrate, let the doors swing open, see through all your walls, all your flaws. Now you're in deeper than sleep. Got to keep awake to what's happening. I can't see a thing through my ambition. I no longer feel my God is watching over me. Got to tell the world you've all been dreaming. This is not the end, a new beginning. I no longer feel my God is watching over me.
above me. It's a sign that someone loves me. I can hardly stand upright, put my head upon the light. I have faith but don't believe it. It's not there enough to leave it. Everything I love is on the table. Everything I love is out to sea. I have only two emotions, careful fear and dead devotion. I can't get the balance right, with all my marbles in the fight. I see all the ones I went for, all the things I had it in for. I won't cry until I hear, 'cause I was not supposed to be here. Everything I love is on the table. Everything I love is out to sea. I'm not alone, I'll never be. Into the bone, I'll never grieve. I'm tired of freezing, I'm done when it gets so late. I forget everyone, I need somewhere to stay. Don't think anybody I know's away. Calm down, it's alright. Keep my arms the rest of the night. When they ask, what do I see? I say bright, white, beautiful heaven hanging over me. I'm not alone, I'll never be. Into the bone, I'm evergreen. And if you want to see me cry, play let it be. Oh, never mind. Is it time to leave? Is it time to think about what I want to say to the girls at the door? I need somewhere to be, but I can't get around the river in front of me. Calm down, it's alright. Leave my arms the rest of the night. When they ask, what do I see? I say a bright, white, beautiful heaven hanging over me.